key in the jail.
No, he doesn't keep the jail, and he's not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join Vice Mayor Case and pledge to our flag and country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for our prayer, please.
God of all truth and wisdom, thank you for your willingness to give us wisdom. Our leaders need wisdom for leadership and governing. We as citizens need wisdom for home and work. Guthrie will prosper with innovation and hard work, creative ideas that come from a free people. To possess these virtues, we need wisdom from you, your divine blueprint for all we do. This city filled with wise people will surely become a productive, prosperous, and powerful city. Fill us with your wisdom and revelation by the power of your Spirit. Enable us to know you better, to know your will and your plans for our lives. Lord, give us a heart of wisdom, and may your wisdom produce in us creative ideas and solutions to problems. May you give us sound counsel and good judgment to help us make good decisions. And may you also give us greater knowledge, understanding, and power so that we may live skillfully and give each other and our community what is good and excellent. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Another excellent prayer. Call to order our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting February 1st. The second item on the agenda is public comments, community announcements, recognitions. Do we have any? We have none. Third item is the consent agenda. One item on the consent agenda is the approval of the minutes of the January 18th Public Works Authority meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on it? Submit your votes.
All votes right.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from all those present to approve the consent agenda, item A. Item number 4 on the agenda is being passed to a future meeting. No action taken at this time. That being the last item on our agenda for Public Works, I adjourn our Public Works Authority. Call to order our City Council meeting of February 1st. The second item on the agenda is consent agenda item A, which is the approval of the minutes of January 18th. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes right.
See the votes. Unanimous approval of consent agenda item A. Item number 3, discussion and possible action to accept the contract award of $381,328 from the Oklahoma Department of Commerce Community Block Grant for the CBG that we have previously approved. Leroy, you have any comments on that?
This is just the grant agreement for the grant, total of $381,328. $282,860 is for HVAC systems in 7 different city-owned buildings. They're listed out in your cover letter. And then $98,468 for windows in 4 of those 7 buildings. There is no match required, so other than the 8% to $30,506 that we're paying for admin, this is free money.
So we should take it.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Before you vote, we spend a lot of time trying to find out where these different federal and state funding opportunities are, and we've also developed quite a network. And I just want to recognize people like Senator Hall, gives us a heads up when he sees opportunities for us, Representative Gary Mize, Ryan Spool, field rep for Senator Inhofe. Those are 3 individuals that always communicate with us when they see opportunities. And also the Lieutenant Governor has made us aware of some opportunities. And we don't always express our appreciation to them sometimes like we should. And I just want to make sure that people know that we've got a lot of good people working on our behalf and trying to keep us aware of things in addition to staff attending meetings and reading notices put out. On this one, of course, Kim took the lead along with Millie Vance to do the application, and Kim will take the lead to assist Millie Vance and her group on administering it.
Okay, very good. Entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
Two votes. Unanimous approval then to accept the contract from the CBD grant. Item number 4, discussion possible action to approve the quote number 116412-1 with Warren Katz with installation of a transmission.
What'd you do, blow the tranny?
So as we are aware, the transmission has went out in our 2007 Caterpillar motor grader. We purchased this machine back in 2012 used. Had just over 5,000 hours on it at that time. Current hours is just over 7,000 hours. We've reached out to Warren Cat, had their guys come down. They've diagnosed that it is the transmission that is went out in this machine. They've provided us with 3 different options. All 3 options is on the cover letter in your agenda. Option 1 is to just replace the transmission with a reman transmission for $48,295. Option 2 is to take our transmission that's in our motor grader out, rebuild that transmission and put it back in the machine. The cost for that would be $44,587, 86 cents. Both option 1 and option 2 have the same, option 1 has a turnaround time of 1 week. In your cover letter, it says 3 weeks, but I've reached back out to them today. They've confirmed they can get it done in 1 week now. Option 2 has a few extras in it. There's a $2,000 charge for the warranty of 2 years, or 3 years, 5,000 hours, as well as we've included $6,700 a month rental fee to rent another machine due to the time that it'd take them to rebuild this transmission. Approximately 3 months is what they're thinking to rebuild one, and that's if they don't run into supply and demand as far as an internal part that may not be available on their shelves at this time, which is very possible.
So the reman's the way to go.
That's our recommendation right now is going to be take the plug and play, the reman. They can have us back in business in a week. I did get an option 3 from them. It's a full overhaul of the machine. It's $166,785.81. Again, that's the same warranty, 3 year, 5,000 hour. They said 3-month turnaround, but again, you're running into the supply and demand issues of parts availability.
And they've got the available transmission now, right?
The available transmission that they have, they've got, it's on a dyno machine right now.
What's the warranty? Has that got the warranty too with it?
It has a 3-year, 5,000 hour warranty as well with that machine,
Right.
or with that transmission.
I make a motion.
Just a minute, just a minute.
If you just went ahead and just bought a whole brand-new grader.
You're probably looking somewhere in the range of $400,000 to $500,000 for a brand-new machine.
Just because I wanted to ask.
Sure.
And your recommendation, the staff's recommendation is?
Option 1 is our staff's recommendation, is take the plug and play, the reman. They come out, they pull ours out, they put theirs in, and we're back in business.
So they'll come out to our plant, our facilities, and work on it there. We don't have to tow it in.
They will come to our facility where it's setting, yes.
Okay. I know who they are because I know them. I've worked with them before. So, okay, they're good.
Okay, I'll
Motion to
entertain a
approve.
Motion
Second.
to go with option number 1. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to move with option number 1. Thank you very much. Item number 5, city manager report.
I do have one tonight.
Wow.
I sent out an email to the city council members and staff. Again, this one come from Ryan Spoles with Senator Inhofe's office. A notice of funding opportunity come out for a RAISE, Rebuilding America Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity grant program. The application won't go to ODOT, it goes directly to Federal Highway Administration. Deadline for it is April 14th of this year. Eligible projects are highway, bridge, or other road projects. Also, surface transportation components on airport projects and other items. As a unit of local government, we're eligible to apply. It appears that our minimum application, we have to apply for at least $5 million. We're getting clarification on that, but because we're part of the Oklahoma Metro, we would be an urban application in lieu of a rural application, but we're getting clarification. The cost share, 80%, it looks like 80% federal money, 20% local. Of course, we're limited by our financial capacity to find that 20% match. Right now, unless you all guide us otherwise, what we're working on is an application for the full depth replacement of Sooner Road and 19th Street, which is a $12.4 million project. When you reconstruct, fully reconstruct Sooner Road, Bridge G8 and Bridge 127, the two bridges associated with that, and then 19th Street. So we would apply for a grant of just over $9.9 million, and we would have to come up with a match of 2.4. When you look at our 3/4 cent CIP tax, our growth rate in our sales tax is higher than what we originally projected. So I think if we go back and reforecast that, we may be able to get enough money out of the CIP funds. We'll have to borrow in advance, but we think we can fund that project. So that's the project we're working on with Bill Myers, city engineer. CMOM, sewer line, our annual sewer line replacement. Tenny's working with Bill Myers. We normally do $100,000 a year, but this year we're going to combine 2 project years, so we'll do roughly $200,000 of sewer line replacements that we'll be bringing to you in the near future. We just did the CDBG grant for HVACs. Sales tax revenue, all the special events should already be doing it, but I've asked Justin to add it to their special use permit, that all events in the future will turn in the Oklahoma sales tax permit number for all food trucks, vendors, and booths, so that we know that everybody that's selling products at special events has a tax number. And when we have those, we can go back later and make sure that they are actually collecting and paying sales tax. If we find that's not the case, then we can look at barring them from future events, in addition to asking the tax commission to pursue them. Hotel tax, that election has been set for April the 5th to ask our voters to increase our visitor tax from 4 to 7. In that meeting, we showed you a brochure that Stillwater had put together that did a good job explaining how the tax worked, who paid it, what it could be used for. Shonda and Justin are working to do a similar brochure for us. And then we will work with schedule activities to inform the general public of that tax. Probably get the sports leagues to try to work with us to promote it, maybe the Chamber of Commerce and city staff. We had a group, Trifecta Communications. They've come up with a app, and we've signed up with them for a $3,000 project. They're going to take 10 to 15 locations in town, and with that app, with pictures, you can go up to a location on a walking tour for people visiting a community, and you can, with that app, you can look at the building or the site as is now, and you can see, okay, this is what it looked like in 1890. This is what the corner looked like in 1920. Whatever pictures we have, and that would be a walking tour. And then it's not a big encouragement, but you get a badge on your app, every one of these you finish, and then they're going to try to do like Route 66, historic sites. Well, when we pick our 15 sites, we're going to try to make sure we got as many of those regional routes, so that when somebody does a regional route, it brings them through Guthrie as well. But we think it'll be another feature to people, even people that come to Lazy E, when they got spare time looking things to do. That's a very convenient thing. They can do it at their own time. It's right on their phone. They can do a walking tour of town and see the history of some of our communities. So we think it'll be a nice additional feature. Justin continues to work with EGCOG and University of Oklahoma's Institute of Quality Communities, and we're doing something similar with the Elbow area that we're doing with the other project. Oklahoma State University Civil and Environmental Engineering, their senior engineering class is working on 2 projects. One group is designing options for a pedestrian bridge across the creek from 9th Street over to Noble Park, or the Elbow, so that as we plan trails over there, we'll have options on that. The other group is doing the design. Back in the 2000s, when we had our master plan, it was always thought that it would be good to have a pedestrian bridge in Mineral Wells Park that connected the 2 land masses across the body of water, with a fishing dock in the middle. So at no cost to us, the Oklahoma State University's seniors in their engineering class are designing those for us. We also, OU, their landscape architect is looking to do some design work in Guthrie as well. One of the things to make you aware of that may be unique, when we do our next budget, because there is such a lag time from the time you order equipment and supplies and materials, that it may be 10, 12 months. So I'm going to ask staff this time in May, when we start planning the FY23 budget, to identify the length of time it takes to order the various materials they will need for the FY23 budget year for their projects. And if it's 10 months out, we can't wait till October 1 when the budget year starts. If you got a 10 wait time, we won't get those materials for an FY23 project until FY23 is over. So we're going to have to rethink how we look at ordering equipment and supplies so that we can get them here during the year that we want to do that project. And so we may have to meet budget law, we may have to encumber some of our unfunded balance until the budget's approved, and then change it over to the budget year. but somehow we're going to have to start pre-ordering so that we have materials and supplies when we need them for the projects.
You're talking about like the rainy day fund going into that?
Correct. We'll tie it technically to funds on hand
Right.
in the interim, and then, of course, once the budget's adopted, then we can encumber it in that budget year. But we can't wait until October 1 to order some of this stuff.
It's gonna get worse, it looks like.
We think so. AGCOG, central government, has an apportionment of just under $9 million of federal funds for road projects. Again, this one has no match. They're in the process of deciding how they are going to distribute that $9 million, and we are, of course, hot and heavy, trying to make sure we get a share of that. At a minimum, we should at least get $200,000 if they just distribute it equally to all of the membership cities. But that'll be, again, some road money that we will get that we won't have a match requirement for. Planning is working on our condemnation list of dilapidated structures and properties that need to be cleaned up. Should be coming to city council in the next month or so.
Probably beginning of March.
When we did it in February, we always had a snowstorm and had to cancel that meeting and reschedule those hearings. We decided not to do it in February this year. A new project, we're looking at a downtown revitalization effort. A combination of input from City Councilman Long and Mayor Gitling. The purpose is to look at revitalization effort to renew downtown and restore it to its former prominence. Shonda's working to identify projects in other historic towns, how they structured it, what consultants used, how they fund it, planning actions that and then we'll look at some kind of committee, representative of various segments of our community to be involved in this. We want to explore Christmas or seasonal lighting for downtown Guthrie. It appears that has been something very attractive in the past, brought a lot of people to town. We've kind of fallen behind on that a little bit. We're going to look and see if the city takes the lead on that, maybe how we can get that done. Downtown parking plan, wayfinding signs in the downtown area, historic style lightings from Highway 33 or Noble to downtown, so it kind of ties all of the historic area together. And then enhancement of minimum maintenance of downtown buildings. How can we make a stronger effort to make sure our treasures that buildings we have in downtown are being better maintained? We're looking at our grease trap ordinance. We got some issues where businesses have been grandfathered relative to grease traps. We have one line that we have to clean out every week, and it's become quite a manpower issue as well as a treatment issue. So staff's going to have a meeting to discuss what our options are dealing with grease traps on some of our businesses in town. We're also going to take another look at sewer backflow preventers. Right now, if it's new construction, just like the grease traps, they have to do it, but if you didn't have one, it's grandfathered. Well, a lot of the sewer backups, we would help ourselves and costs that we have to pay if everybody had a backflow preventer. So we're looking at options there. We have turned in the soundstage, film soundstage application to EDA. They have told us they received it. It's under review. So far, we've received some positive response. We've also applied for part of the funding through the state ARPA funds. That application has been submitted. The industrial park application was submitted for state ARPA funds, and our EDA application for an industrial park probably tomorrow. We've applied for ARPA funds for $865,000 grant to do a series of water line improvements, and with an $865,000 match from our local ARPA funds. And then we continue to work with the technical assistance for the Pollard's application for ARPA funds, with us matching $100,000. So those have all been turned in. I think staff should be commended. Everybody, we don't have one designated grant writer, grant administrator. It's done by a team effort, and everybody picks up the slack, and it's a tremendous effort by our part, by staff. We're in the process of trying to set up a meeting with U.S. Congresswoman Stephanie Bice, target later in February. We think we have a commitment to showcase Guthrie and then visit with Representative Mice, U.S. Representative Mice, about potential federal, state, and local funding opportunities that we can get through the federal process. We'll do the same thing with Congressman Lucas. Franchise agreements, OG&E will be coming forward to call an election to renew the OG&E franchise agreement. Expires in February 2023. ONG wants to change from a gross receipts ordinance to a franchise agreement, and we'll be working with them relative to bringing that to the council and then to a vote. And working with Vast Broadband, which operates under the name of Blue Peak, to add additional internet opportunities in our community. Waste Connections, their agreement expires in September of 2023. We've asked Waste Connections to bring forth a renewal proposal that would be attractive to encourage us to not go out for bids. So we're waiting to receive that, to bring it to City Council to see if it makes sense for us to just renew it rather than go through the bid process, because that's a pretty lengthy, staff time-consuming process if we don't need to do it. ARP, American Association of Retired Persons, will probably be bringing a grant application to you on March 1st meeting. They have an annual program. Their application is due on March 22nd. You can get a grant from them. Average grant is $11,500. Maximum is $50,000. We're looking at the same projects for this one as a T-Mobile grant. Some things that people have done with the ARRP grant, some examples: install picnic tables, park benches, and a walking trail next to a community building. Install a shelter house and 2 picnic tables as part of converting an empty lot into a community gathering space. Roadway modifications improve safety for pedestrians and bicyclists. Improve a community room and its building with new flooring, seats, and lighting. That's examples of some prior grants. T-Mobile also has a grant. You can get $50,000. Neither one of those require a match. We'll be bringing you an application for that grant on March 1st as well. We're looking at 4 potential projects for those 2 grants. One would be replacement of some of the playground equipment in Highland Park. That is 20 years or older. Another one is looking at pop-up shops as a retail incubator concept. And the third one we're looking at is a project, Meet Me in the Alley Improvement Project, where we take the alley between Division and First Street in Oklahoma Harrison and look at making it more user-friendly for gatherings and community events. Is the 3 different projects we're looking at to bring to you for consideration. Again, staff time, but no match required for those. TSET also has another grant opportunity. Maximum award is $350,000. You can get a grant for 2 years, a total of $700,000. This one does require a match. So if you get $700,000, you got to match it with $700,000, but we can use in-kind labor. And so if we build the trails ourselves, then we can use the $700,000. We're hoping to bring that to you on March 1st as well. The 2 projects, and we may be able, by using in-kind labor, to do both projects. One of them will be the Safe Routes to School sidewalk on Walnut, take up where we left off, and extend that sidewalk all the way to Oklahoma Avenue, and then at one point veer off of that and connect that sidewalk to Highland Park and the trails in Highland Park. The second project is one that we had pursued before, and it is a trail from downtown on Oklahoma to 5th Street, and then on 5th Street to Warner, and from Warner to Banner Park, and then on the south side of the highway or Noble, another trail that would go to 9th Street so that we could eventually jump off and go to Noble Park when we get ready to do trails over there. We're checking on prices. We may even be able to do the pedestrian bridge as part of this project, just so that we already have that for future trails. So that's a project that we're working on to bring to you for March 1st. We've got 18 dysfunctional fire hydrants, getting parts, and with our manpower shortage, it's something we've decided that it's important enough. We're putting a bid package to put those out for bids so that we can get those done. Working on the zoning ordinance with Dan. Highland Hall interior, we're going to pick that project up again. We got $476,000 budgeted for that out of CARES Act money, and then we'll add the $42,000 we have for HVACs and the $25,000 from the grant for windows to that project now. Owens Field, we got $1 million land and water conservation grant. Found out today why we haven't got release of funds to start that project. Osage Nation. Osage Nation has now created their own SHPO. Just like the State Historic Preservation Office, they have their own Nation Historic Preservation Office, and they have 2 anthropologists. Any federal funding has to go through an environmental review process, and they've held up all federal projects, not only in Oklahoma, but in some other states. For example, our water line project, CDBG, doing the water line along Division, we had to back up and pay a $5,000 cost to have an environmental resource study done where they dig holes along Division to make sure there's no Native American artifacts where we're going to be replacing an existing line. Same thing with the ball fields. All of the Land and Water Conservation Fund grants are on hold, and Osage Nation's reviewing all those. If we have to do a grid system for one industrial park project, their environmental resource study cost almost $100,000. So it's, just because they can, there's not a lot we can do about it. And the Osage started in the Ohio Valley, so they're not just doing this in Oklahoma, they're doing it in Ohio, Illinois, Kansas, so it's holding up a lot of projects. No other Native American nations in Oklahoma has required this, and Osage hadn't in the past. But that's why it's taken so long to get release of funds for the ballparks. Street overlay project, we've got $200,000 for the FY 2022 CIP street overlay. That's a combination of overlay and AD accessibility. Tenny and Dan should be setting up a meeting with the street committee, which is Mr. Case, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Channel, to start working on a list to propose to City Council for our next overlay project. Regional Airport, we're going to be talking about that shortly. Selected equipment, the new fire pumper we ordered back in January, target date for deliveries April 22nd. Some other equipment, Tenny, the street sweeper we ordered, estimated arrivals April of 2022. Bobcat with track loader, estimate arrival in May of 22. The other ones that we've ordered have already been received. There are several pickups that we put on hold because of delivery time. We're going to use some of that funds for the project you approved, Tenny's piece of equipment, and then we'll revisit those at the end of this budget year to see what funding we have and what the timeline is of ordering pickups and actually receiving them. So that's just kind of to let you know that staff, both administratively and out in the field, are very busy.
Really good. Good report, Leroy. It is exciting to hear about all the things that are happening in our community, and also all the opportunities that are out there coming down the road. And appreciate you and your staff being on top of all those pots of money and opportunities to make Guthrie better. So appreciate you very much. Item number 6 is comments from City Council. Councilman Williams.
I don't know if this is the proper time, but before we go into executive session and lose our audience, I spoke with Leroy this morning about the efforts put forth for this insurance reduction. Explain what that is again, please, because it's very important.
Basically, insurance carriers throughout the country base their premiums on what's called an ISO rating, which is Insurance Service Office. It's a private corporation with all your big companies base it off their rating, or an independent company comes in and grades each city and each fire department on their capabilities from a fire department standpoint, radio communication standpoint we have downstairs, and also our water distribution system. So we got our letter first thing yesterday morning that our new grade will take effect May 1st this year, and we've lowered it from a 4 to a 2, which puts us in about the top 3% nationwide of fire departments. So 1 is the best, 10 is basically no fire protection. And the nice thing about our new rating is that 2 will actually apply to anybody within 5 road miles of the fire station. Before it was 5 road miles and 1,000 feet of fire hydrant, but we got what's called a hauled water credit on this new rating. So we'll be able to count our truck in water and our tankers as well. So anybody, regardless of the fire hydrant location, as long as you're within 5 road miles, you'll get that 2 rating. So it could be a significant cost savings for some folks down south that are paying a higher premium now. But especially on the commercial side, going forward, it should be a great statement.
Well, thank you for that. I wanted to commend you for that effort and your staff and department.
Great, great, thank you. Councilman Taylor?
89ers is coming up in about 2.5 months, so if you've got something you want to get in the parade or whatever, see somebody. I think would be what, Dennis Oaks most likely get in the parade with. See Dennis if you want to do that. Staff, thank you. I mean, you guys had a whole bunch of stuff tonight, so I appreciate everything you all do. That's it.
Councilman Long?
It's supposed to get damn cold, so let the bosses drip.
That's
Run.
for sure.
Supposed to let them run.
Yeah,
Vice Mayor
might
Kate?
need to.
Just remember, you have to pay for that water.
Let it run.
Vice Mayor Case?
I was gonna say the same thing, James. It's getting ready to get cold. I hope everybody got their bread and milk. But, that's all I've got.
Walmart's out.
Yeah.
They are out of
They
milk.
They probably are. Councilman Butler?
I just ditto the same. Appreciate everything you've done on that, Eric, and everything you're doing, Leroy, so,
Everybody else.
and everybody. So,
Councilman Channel?
They do have a lot on the ball. They got a lot of plates spinning on those broomsticks. But another thing, you know, when we were talking about some of this stuff we do, and like working on the ball field and the hotel motel tax, some people have said, well, I'd like to see where it all goes. They need to lay the finances out so we can see where they're spending our money. Well, tonight we spent 50 grand on a road grader transmission. It don't take too many of those licks till, you know, we're behind the 8 ball, but there's so many things that we do and spend money on that the public has no clue. But we don't hide any of it. All they have to do is, it's all on file there. Read it for yourself. But I'll shut up now.
there you go.
Good point, good point. Okay, that being the last item on our agenda, we are adjourned for this meeting.
See ya.
And, before you walk out the door, call to order a special Guthrie Economic Development Authority meeting of February 1st. Second item on the agenda is consent agenda item A, which is the approval of the minutes of the special Guthrie Economic Development Authority meeting of December 7th. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your vote.
I'll vote Rand.
See the votes. Unanimous approval of the consent agenda item A. Item number 3, consider approval to convene into executive session pursuant to Authority Title 25 concerning activities with the airport.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, submit your votes. Submit your votes. Submit your votes.
I'll vote Rand.
Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval to move into executive session.
I think you're supposed to submit it 3 times.
Call it a day.
Sure.
You're sitting in the mayor's, or you're sitting in Billy's
I
spot.
was being an attorney for a second. You know, my dad always wanted me to be an attorney. Then he wanted me to be a dentist. I wish I would become a dentist.
Thanks, Justin.
They don't have to work outside when it's cold.
Hey, Carl, let me call you back in the middle of
Sorry. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Motion and second, submit your votes.
I'll vote Strand.
See the votes. Unanimous approval to come out of executive session. Item number 5 is motion to move to authorize city attorney to negotiate purchase agreement with a 6-month option and $20,000 earnest money for A, the acquisition of all leasehold improvements, commercial rights, and the associated January 21, 1977 hangar ground lease agreement as amended between the city of Guthrie and Glenn Crabtree Aircraft Company, and B, acquisition of Crabtree Aircraft Company Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Submit your votes.
I'll vote Strand.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to move forward with the purchase agreement and with a 6-month option and $20,000 earnest money as identified in items A and B as previously stated. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Finally, we got that one off the agenda.
Welcome back to Loyal TV. This week we're in Guthrie to meet the man who set out to make Oklahoma a land that African Americans could thrive in.
So Mr. McCabe seemed to be quite the charismatic human being, very empowering.